This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 169.
Day job, gym, and then usually courses or webinars or whatever happens to be going on that night.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. He recently discovered kimchi, and he loves it. Play trader.
That's not how you spell it, Hovinga. You're not even close. Goodness. You are the worst speller I've ever met. Ever. All right, here we go. Yeah, I can't even look at it or else it'll throw me off. All right, here we go. Yeah, kimchi. I discovered it. I love it. And I did post this in the chat room, and Ches chimed in. So I kind of actually know where he's coming from this, but I know, Ches, you have tried kimchi. And if I'm remembering right, you are a fan of it. Is my memory serving me halfway decent here?
Absolutely. They used to serve a ton of it in various places we go to in California, and it is my favorite. And Kelly's not the biggest fan, but I just scarf it down.
Yeah, kimchi is, I get it comes from the sauerkraut family, kind of ish. Is that? I mean, it's like a cabbage, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like a cabbage, but it's all about the sauce.
Yeah, it is. It's spice. It's good. So, don't knock it before you try it. But kimchi, and it's healthy for you too. You can get some good probiotics and stuff like that in it. So, yeah, check it out if you have never tried it. It's at least worth trying, especially if you like spicy stuff. Get some of the spicy, and I think you would be. I think you will thank Ches and I for this. Well, we're moving on to our guest, and Ches. Our guest today, I mean, all our guests are awesome, so don't get me wrong, but Johnny has quite the story, doesn't he?
Yep, he's gone through a lot. I don't want to give anything away, but he's had some ups and downs in his life, that's for sure.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to use that. I'll have to run it by him, see if I can use it in the title, because I mean, but just in case, so maybe people will already know what we're talking about, but I guess we don't know that quite yet. But yeah, he's been through a lot. And yeah, his story is motivating. It's got me fired up, and he meant to do this, and I want to do it for him. But he's actually in a band. He's a professional musician. He hustles on the weekend to bring in some extra change. But the name of his band, they're based out of Austin, is Uptown. And we'll put all this information in the show notes page at claytrader.com too. But if you go and want to just check them out more, UptownAustinCoverband.com. Again, UptownAustinCoverband.com. Check them out. Show some support. Maybe you're probably like, why would I? But just after you listen, you'll probably want to show this guy some support just because, yeah, he's a great story. He's working hard. He's got a plan. He's following the plan. And as far as victim cards are concerned, he may have some, but he uses them for kindling for his fire because he definitely doesn't play them. But without further ado, let's hear about Johnny and his story. Johnny, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, we just discovered you're in Austin-ish, Texas. You're in Texas. Is that a safe assumption or safe statement on my part, I should say?
Yeah, I'm in the suburbs between Austin and San Antonio somewhere.
Nice. So Austin, that's a pretty nice town. I'm assuming you've been there before.
The live music capital of the world.
Ooh, I feel like Nashville would have something to say about that. Is there like a rivalry going on there, or is that?
I don't know. I
mean, I guess Nashville, maybe that's just more of the country music stuff there, but yeah, I've heard Austin is very nice. I'd actually like to get down there for a meet and greet at some point in time. So
that'd be awesome.
Maybe in the future. Would you come, Johnny?
Absolutely.
Good. Will you perform some live music for us?
Absolutely.
I thought you were the songbird of our generation.
Well, you know, all songbirds need a
backup
sidekick.
Singers.
Yeah, backup. Do you sing, Johnny?
I do. One of my jobs is I have a wedding band, and we do weddings and corporate parties and stuff like that. So I've been a professional musician for years and years.
Nice. He's in Wisconsin, Ches. Zip. Why can't I think?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. We have another. Yep, it's we have another musician in the community as well.
That's gonna drive me nuts. I'm sorry. He came to the meeting in Nashville, drove like 13-hour zip. So anyways, and then we have Duke. I'm trying to think, but maybe he was just an actor.
He's an actor.
Okay, all right. Well, man, we're interviewing all kinds of Hollywood stars on this thing. This is crazy.
You been doing your Sudoku? I feel like your memory's on point right now.
Yeah, I don't know. My wife, she likes to do Sudoku, whatever that is. But yeah. Anyways, all right. I really want to go off some other tangents, but that's not what listeners are here for. That's not what Johnny signed up for. So Johnny, he filled us in. Now let me ask you this real quick. Are you in the chat room on a? I remember you gave me a quick rundown, but I'll be honest with you, Johnny. I've pretty much forgotten everything you've told me, and I kind of do that on purpose a little bit so we can keep this as real as possible, but I can't remember. Do you hang out in the chat room, or are you more so just in the shadows?
I am a lurker in the chat room up to this point. I think I've talked a couple times. I remember a few months ago saying something. I saw another new guy ask about his CTU badge, and so I piped up and said, I need mine too. And you gave somebody else said, hey, Clay must have advertised on Pornhub or something. And so
I can't say that I'm shocked given that somebody in the chat room said something like that. I mean, we have a bunch of overgrown children at times, it feels like, but so pretty much the only time that you spoke up was to complain about something. So that's good. I'm glad that that's how it works. Kidding aside though, go ahead, Johnny.
The chat room to me is a little bit intimidating at this point, but I'm sure I'll get in there and speak up at some point.
Yeah, it's nothing to be intimidated by, but I can understand
how man children.
Yeah, I can understand how it might be intimidating, but as long as you're not in there saying, some 000 stock is the next Amazon and is going to Dollarland, people are pretty friendly. I mean, when it gets pumping, things maybe get a little bit more feisty in there. But anyways, so Johnny, I mean, where did all this start for you? Let's start back at the beginning. You did mention that you've listened to all the podcasts, so you kind of know this question. But from here, who knows where it all will go. But where did you first hear about the markets, and what essentially happened, or what sets of events happened that made you want to get more serious about it and made you want to take more of a hands-on approach with it?
Yeah, so I remember from as a little kid, the family would have board game night, and I remember the Game of Life, and you could land on a square in the Game of Life and, quote, play the stock market, where you would take a pile of money and put it on a number line and then spin the wheel, and if your number came up on the wheel, then you win. So the stock market, I guess, to me seemed like gambling.
And I would say so, yeah. Spin the wheel.
Right.
Not helping our cause when you spin the wheel and it's a child's game, and
Thanks
this is what people
life.
grow up to think. Yeah, good job, life.
So anyways, and then, I grew up seeing the movies, Trading Places and stuff like that. And then...
Did you see Wolf of Wall Street? Is that one of them too that factored into this?
I did not see the Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay,
I tried to find that on Amazon. I couldn't find it because I believe that was a homework assignment in one of the courses or something. So anyways, my life.
I was gonna say, what led you to kind of get into it besides the Game of Life, the board game?
Well, I actually never had a real job for a company until I was nearly 40 years old.
You're going to have to explain that.
I do think I need to give a little backstory as to why that every decision I make in my life now is done with an abundance of caution. Whether when I was vetting you guys and looking at other education places, everything I do in my life now is a huge decision for me, because by the time I was, I'd say 15 or 16 in high school, I was a full-on methamphetamine addict. And I had left home, I ran away from home. Didn't really run away. I kind of moved in with an older lady who had, the dope I was looking for. And anyways, just really got involved in that lifestyle and the drug lifestyle. And so then when you're in that lifestyle, there's something called the chase. Every minute you're awake, you're spent looking for that drug. And I got tired of that. And thought to myself, man, if I could just be the guy who's making this stuff, I could be the one everybody's chasing. And so I did that. I knew that I needed to get educated on how to make the stuff, and so I did that and found a guy, and this guy was just dangerous to be around. Half the people wanted to kill him, and half the people wanted to be his best friend. So kind of a long story short, I ended up just doing some prison time over that. I ended up getting cooking dope and getting in with some gangs and stuff, cooking for them, and ended up going to prison for it. So when I was about 37, I finally got clean and sober, checked myself into a rehab. I had people looking for me. I had a price on my head, I guess you could say. And so I had to make a decision. Kind of woke up one night and said, I need to get out of this house. And I drove a couple hours away and went to a rehab. And so it's been a crazy life for me. Just one bad decision after another, you know? So, that's why.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say it kind of when it snowballs, but honestly, it sounds like you've dug yourself out of that hole. You just kind of had that. I think the term is coming to God moment or something like that. So you kind of figured it out. You went to rehab, cleaned up your act, and where'd you go from there?
Well, I found some faith, and I found a recovery program. And as a matter of fact, now I am a state representative for Texas for Celebrate Recovery program, and which means I just help churches start Celebrate Recoveries wherever they are, and assist them and in starting ministries of their own and stuff. So it's been a whirlwind, but when I did get a job for waste management in 2011, and they had an option. You could check the box if you wanted to participate in the employee stock purchase program.
Waste management as in ticker symbol WM, waste management?
That's the one.
Nice.
So I signed up for that, and I kind of always knew that I wanted to do something in the stock market. And I could see that my 401k was just, seemed like it was stuck in the mud. It wasn't making much money. And I've always wanted to have multiple income streams. Right now I have my regular day job, and then we do the wedding band thing on the weekends. And then whenever we don't have a show or a gig or something on the weekends, I drive for Uber. And so, that's helping me fund my trading account, and also all the wedding band gig stuff. That my wife is actually the lead singer in our band, so we make double income for the band when we do that. So all that is going toward our debt snowball that we do, and we do have a budget. You'll be happy to know, Clay, we do have a budget, and we do stick to that as much as we can.
Can we revert back to? Can I ask you more about the drug stuff, just out of pure curiosity?
Absolutely.
So the chase, is that like a literal thing where, like, when you're an addict or whatever, like you literally mean that you chase it every waking hour, or is that like a metaphor that you're using, or is that literal?
No, it's literal. Every thought that you have is how you're going to hustle to get money to get it, how you're going to cheat or steal, or what you're going to do to spend 7 days really fixing a lawnmower to sell to get some stuff. Just crazy stuff that you would never do if you're in your right mind. But once I started cooking the dope, there was a whole other chase that I didn't know about. And that was the chase to get ingredients to make the stuff. And I can remember at one point being up for 9 days scraping the little red heads off of match heads to extract the red phosphorus out of there. That's an ingredient that we used. So yeah, it's a literal 24-hour thinking about chasing the dope.
Wow. Well, I mean, congrats first off for, like Chess said, digging yourself out of the hole. I mean, I would like to say I know it, but I have no idea. So I mean, I would assume that takes a massive amount of willpower.
It's not as much as you want to chase down donuts when you go on vacation, Clay. It's much cheaper than that. So you can't compare it.
That's true. But yeah, well, I mean, and then yeah, that's awesome to hear that you're a sponsor and all that sort of stuff now. Yeah, wow. I'm so you very. I think it's safe to say you have an addictive personality, or you have. Is that a safe assumption on my part to say that?
I do, and I really have to watch the things that I do because, I can get help. I can get addicted to healthy things. Like I'm a gym rat. I'm working out 4 to 6 days a week, lifting weights and stuff, and that is kind of therapy for me more than anything else. But it's something I love to do. So I definitely do have a propensity for addiction, but I'm not one of in the camp that addiction is a disease. I don't believe that's true. I believe it's a choice. You have that choice whether you put that stuff in your body or not. And so I don't subscribe to the addiction is a disease thing, but some do.
Okay, interesting. Well, again, that's awesome. I didn't know that any of that had happened, but once again, Chaz, no excuses. Johnny could have said, "Hey, man, I'm a recovering drug addict, dealer. I was in jail. Woe is me. I can't get ahead in life." But Chaz, have you heard any of that yet?
I hear that every day, but not from Johnny, that's for sure.
Well played, yeah. So once again, viewers, why are Ches and I a little rough around the edges? Hey, welcome. We just got another data point. His name is Johnny. So that's awesome, man. This is good stuff. And I've heard the word budget. I've heard debt snowball, which I know is paying off debt.
Multiple income sources.
Yeah, multiple income sources. So good stuff. All right, so I guess you check that box because you want stock in waste management, which you said was 2011. Is that what you said?
I started buying. What they do is they buy you. They take a little bit out of your paycheck every week, and then they buy you a stock at a discounted price, and you can either sell it after a time and get the money and buy tires or whatever. You can just let it accumulate. And I think I've sold it off a couple times. And one of the times when I sold that stock off, a video popped up on kind of stock market stuff and kind of all about the stock market. And at that point I kind of said, well, maybe I could actually not let the company do my trading for me, but I could buy some stocks and trade them myself. So that's when I Googled what is the stock market, and I believe some of your videos came up, and just a crap load of stuff came up at that point.
I can only imagine. So was this all still back in 2011-ish, or
no? This was probably, let's see, early 2017 by then.
Okay. And I know Waste Management. I do own them in my retirement account. It's a great company. So I'm looking at the chart to know that you were buying back in 2011.
Right.
You chose
like $40.
Yeah, you chose wisely. You've been going to the webinars,
for sure.
right?
I was looking up the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Well done. I mean, as soon as you said Waste Management, I'm like, please tell me that's WM, because that thing has been a monster. So, yeah, congratulations on all that. So, all right, what is a stock? See, that's why people out there, Ches, myself, Johnny, I'll speak for Johnny here. Nobody would ever judge you for being new, because we all start out as new. We all start off as, what is the stock market? For me, it was always kind of, wait, what's a dividend? And now to think that I ever has to ask, what is a dividend, is silly. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being new. We all start off as new. And here's Johnny saying that he had to literally Google, what is the stock market? And a bunch of stuff popped up. So where did you go from there? Did you jump into my videos right away, or did you just start kind of going out there and just kind of jumping from one source to another?
Well, I knew that I needed to get educated first, and I've always kind of been aware. I've always been good at knowing how much I don't know, and so I knew I needed to get educated. I started checking out you guys and some other, trading communities and education guys with red beards and man buns, but. So
limited time memberships. Uh-huh.
Right. And I didn't know about that limited time membership thing until I heard it in a podcast. And I know you didn't name any names, but I knew exactly who you were talking about. And so that kind of turned me off of him. So anyways, I found a video of yours. I think it was called Poor People Make Great Traders or something like that. And you outlined a plan where you can get a job and save $2,000 and then buy the university, and then while you're going through the courses, save $2,000 more for your trading account. And I thought that was brilliant, and because I'm a poor person and I think I can be a good trader, so I decided that is what I was going to do. And eventually I decided to go with Clay Trader.
It just melts my heart that you saw that video, because we've actually had folks where they say, they don't have much money to kind of invest in their education, but they have enough money to kind of go, quote unquote, gamble in the market. And I sent them that video and they go, this is real offensive. This is real offensive. But Johnny over here literally takes it as, okay, I don't have enough money to kind of do this right now. I'm just going to listen to what's kind of said in there. And it's not meant to be offensive. Clay isn't, lighting $100 bills in front of like somebody homeless on the street or something. He's literally just outlining a plan on how you can kind of, move forward. It's just kind of a process.
Well, not only that, but how you should move forward too. I mean, from a logical perspective trading, you can't just go and experiment with, you can, but you're going to lose a lot of money if you just go and experiment. So it doesn't. But yeah, you're right, Chez. That video can be very divisive. I think it has more likes or thumbs up than thumbs down is on YouTube, but I guess I don't know if that's for sure or not. But yeah, some people really don't like that video because I think a lot of people like to hear, let's go, just, you can do it right now. And it's like, okay, probably not the right... But yeah, it is definitely not me lighting up $100 bills in front of homeless people or anything like that.
So at the Denver meetup, which is coming up soon, I think we're just going to set $100 bills on fire in front of a homeless shelter or something like that, and then we'll change the URL or something like that. But Johnny, I'm just happy to hear you actually listened to that video and kind of took it to heart. So is this when you just kind of started saving up and decided to go through the program? Before you even answer that, I meant to ask you this. So you had actually found some videos of Clay and listened to some podcasts prior to ever investing in any education training or funding a trading account? You just had that waste management stuff sitting on the side?
Right. Once I found the podcast, I just started going through those. I think when I started listening to the podcast, and for some reason my podcast player would play them backwards, so I started at 149 and went to 1, and then started doing the more recent ones. But I
want to commend you for not just diving in blindly and kind of blowing your money up, but I can tell, you honestly understand, what it means to kind of earn an honest living and what it takes to kind of put in. So I'm glad to hear you kind of did it the right way. We don't come across that all the time. A lot of people we talk to have unfortunately had to burn accounts and blow up accounts and, just really kind of ruin their initial trading success that they might have had by just kind of diving in way too fast. So you watch the video, you save up some money. Do you dive straight into university after that?
I did. And I want to say about the podcast, I thought they were awesome because it was literally a million ways to find out what not to do. And if you listen to those stories in that podcast and hear the horror stories about penny stocks and stuff like that, and so it was easy for me to just stray away from that to begin with and not even have any I did take the penny stock survival guide first, but just kind of wanted to find out what those were about. But yeah, the podcasts are education in itself, and it's all free,
Yeah, and I'm glad that because there are horror stories with penny stocks. You're absolutely right, but and this will make more sense to you, Johnny, since you've gone through the course. However, if you know how to approach penny stocks, if you know how to deal with them, if you understand how it works, it's not always going to be a horror story. The horror story comes from the ignorance for the misunderstanding. And a lot of people say, I think there's more efficient ways to make money in the market, so I'm not going to deal with penny stocks, even though I do understand them. But I just for all viewers out there, I don't want to make it seem like it's a blanket statement where penny stocks automatically equal horror story. It should be penny stocks with ignorance is going to, result in a horror story because they are definitely out there geared to take your life. Or I guess to take your life in some senses, in the sense of your money. But would you agree with that, Johnny? There is a way to approach penny stocks, but it's got to be, you have to understand things. Is that accurate after you went through the course?
Yeah, you have to understand that it's crap and there's no liquidity sometimes, and who needs penny stocks when there's options?
That's a very fair point. We'll probably cross.
But I thought you could just short them, and it's as easy as that. Short everyone.
Yeah, well, they all go down. So I mean, penny stocks. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole. I mean,
all right.
We might. But all right, Johnny. So let's see. You get into the university, you take the penny stock course. You learned a lot about the podcast, or from the podcast, about just kind of what not to do. And you're right. Now that I think about it and reflect back, there are pretty much a million things of what not to do, which why I'm very biased, but I think I have good data on why we have like one of the greatest communities ever, because we have a bunch of normal people coming on, sharing their stories, and people like Johnny are now saying, how much I did benefit from just learning about, what not to do. So that's really cool to hear that it's, working out. So for all of you past guests, I thank you. Ches thanks you for sharing your story, because here you go. Here's somebody that you've affected and that you've helped out Johnny here. So, I mean, how long did it actually take you because you watched the poor video and then, it says, all right, well, you want to save up for the 2,000. So how long did that actually take you to save up for?
Well, it wasn't long. My wife and I can make a couple $1,000s in a Saturday doing a wedding gig. So, and that, along with Ubering, it was pretty fast. I want to say a couple months maybe. And I was definitely not in a rush. I'm not in a rush for any of this, but so a couple months, I guess. I remember getting on the website and looking at the courses and doing some math, and I was thinking, why would anybody buy these separately? So I just jumped right in with all of CTU, and I didn't even know at that point that not only do you get these courses, but you get all these hours and hours of webinars that are amazing, and all the case studies and everything that you get included with CTU. It's worth a lot more than you're charging for it. That's all I can say about that.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you're pleased with your investment. And yeah, I mean, Ches and I were like, okay, you're free to buy individual courses if you want. I mean, from a business perspective, hey, we just make more money that way. Because yeah, like you said, Johnny, you did the math. It's a lot more expensive to do that. But yeah, I guess if people don't quite trust us out of the gates, I do understand. But if they want to dip their toe in the water, that's fine. But they are hedging their risk, and it costs money to hedge your risk. So I mean, but you went the cost-effective route, and I'm glad you jumped in with both feet, and you're happy with all that. So I guess you said you started with robotic or penny stock, and then I'm assuming you went to robotic trading. Let me ask it this way. Just walk us through. You make the purchase. It took you a couple months to save up for it. Where did things go from there?
Well, I actually did start with robotic trading.
Okay, nice.
Once I was getting into that, and you were saying some things that I wasn't following. You were like, the bulls are fighting back. I didn't have any idea what that was. So I kind of got out of that, and I said there must be something more introductory, so I clicked on the thing on the website that in the order you should watch the videos, and so I went to the penny stock survival guide just to check it out, and then all the basic terms and stuff kind of came clearer with that course, and then I went back into robotic trading, and then moved into skill sharpening. Yes, I did print out the guides.
That a boy. You do listen to everything. I can't even ask Johnny. Don't be a jerk, man. At least let me ask some questions. You're answering them before I can even ask them.
Well, I've been listening to your voice for about 5 months straight now, it seems like. So I pretty much know what you're going to say
as much as I listen to you, Clay. Yeah, exactly.
I pity both of you. I mean, I really do. But,
if you need it, if something happens to me skiing next season, Clay, perfect replacement for me right here. Go. Somebody who's already up to date with everything.
Yeah, exactly. Ches?
And then
so you go through skill sharpening and all that, and then I'm assuming you've kind of gone through all of the course at this point, haven't you?
No, I went through level 2s and decided to go into RVR. And at that point, when I started going through the RVR, it seemed like I was frustrated with my chart vision. It wasn't coming along. Whenever I would get on a webinar and Clay would say, okay, look at this chart, and if you were in a good mood, and what would your alert be? And I'd blank. I don't know what my alert would be, you know? And so I was, get frustrated at those points and realize that when I'm going through these courses, by the time I get through one strategy or concept and get on to the next one, then I've kind of forgotten how to scan for and look for and work all the prior one. So at that point, I decided to kind of go ahead and gloss over the Forex and the options simplified and the trampoline. I haven't done the volcano yet, but and then go back through those a second time and try to and just dig into one concept or one strategy and paper trade it until I completely get it.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say what helped me a ton was as I kind of went through the concepts of the courses. First off, I went through it way too fast, but that's besides the point. Is that you paper trade and kind of apply it to, it doesn't have to be live. It doesn't have to be intraday trading. It can be literally on the daily chart at the end of the day, all that kind of stuff. So did you find that kind of helped you when you were paper trading through like individual modules, whether it was patterns or candlesticks or something like that?
Yeah, and I was still trying to paper trade whatever strategy or whatever concept I would end on at that time. That what I'm doing right now is I'm working about 50 hours a week on my regular job now, because it's springtime and ironically, I work with hazardous materials now. So everybody's cleaning out their garages of their, everybody's cleaning out their garages of all their hazardous materials and stuff. So springtime is crazy for me. So what I'm doing is kind of looking for trades on Sunday night and working with advanced orders and trying to place usually one trade a week and just kind of on a swing trade kind of deal that might take 2 to 5 days, and just look for stuff that I like and setups that I can see, and whether it's from the Power Profit scans or something I find myself. One thing I will say about my chart vision, I remember not a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, that I was looking through some charts on a Friday afternoon after market close, and I think it was Tesla or something. I saw this beautiful bull flag on a Tesla chart, and so I drew it up and charted it out, and then the next morning I got Clay's Power Profit scan, and it was in there just like I drew it. So that was something that kind of gave me a little bit more confidence about what I can really see now and how far I've come, because I'll beat myself up sometimes about how much I still don't know. And I every time I take another video in the courses, and I realize kind of more and more how much more that I really don't know.
Well, let me first, you said something that just stuck out to me like a sore thumb in a good way, but on a Friday afternoon, you're looking at charts after the market closed, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
right.
This is, Ches and I, it's one thing to say, you got to have passion for this stuff or else it's not going to really work out. But I get it. That's just a soundbite. How do you define passion in a practical sense? That's a practical sense to me is, here Johnny is on a Friday after the market closed. So this is not like, it's not like the market closes at, noon and then he's still got, he's got like a entire afternoon. No, this is like late afternoon, evening time on a Friday. The weekend when a lot of people are like, it's Friday, and they're out doing who knows what. Here Johnny is doing stock market stuff, learning, trying to get better, trying to, his axe is to the grindstone on a Friday after the market closes when, I'll be honest, for me, I'm my mind's not really on the market anymore at that point in time. I'm doing some final stuff, and then that's pretty much it. But I can remember exactly where Johnny was back in the day when I was in that. It was just any waking hour. So am I saying that you have to, spend your weekends or spend just kind of Friday evenings, Friday afternoons doing this stuff? I'm not going to say that, But as far as where's your passion truly stand? You say you love this stuff, but I mean, what are you doing, on a Friday? What are you doing on a Saturday? What are you doing over the weekend? I mean, are you out spending money on just stuff that really doesn't matter, or are you out or are you in studying, and by being in and studying, you're saving money, and then by saving money, you can actually put that into your trading account? I mean, just kind of one of those. Cheza, do you see what tree I'm barking up here? I mean, does this make sense to try to...
It doesn't cost me any money to watch 14 hours of Netflix.
Well, I mean, but you know what I'm saying here? Johnny is...
I know exactly
Friday. I mean, so I'll get off my little stool here, but or my soapbox, but great example there of what this actually takes to, really have a passion towards this stuff is, if you find yourself all bummed out because you're not going out or you can't go out with friends because I got to study, I'd say you're looking at this a little bit not the way it should. You should be passionate and excited. I mean, do you have fun when you're doing that sort of stuff, Johnny? I mean, you're not sitting there like dreading it, are you?
Oh no, I love it.
Okay, perfect. So I mean, and that when you love something, then I mean, you want to be doing it.
Passion.
Yeah, passion. You want to be doing that. Anyways, do
Right.
Do I hear myself feedback?
No, you're
okay.
fine.
All right. Anyways, all right, Nate, you can leave that in there. Don't worry about it. That's just so. Let's see, Johnny, you are just beast moding it. How do you feel about your chart vision now, though? I mean, the Tesla example, you matched up perfectly with what showed up in the newsletter. But I mean, are you? And that was, like you said, probably about a month ago. So I mean, you still feel like your chart vision's improving more and more?
It is improving, but it's nowhere near where it needs to be for me. I mean, I couldn't even ever contemplate putting out an alert in a chat room, right now, because I first of all wouldn't want to be wrong, wouldn't want to put somebody else on a trade that I thought was going one way and it went a different way. But so it is getting better, but I know that I have a lot more work to do, but I'm not in a hurry on this. I've only been paper trading for a month. Actually, when I first signed up for CTU and I found out that I could paper trade on TradingView, I started just going at it, like buying 100 shares of Amazon and stuff like that, and just unrealistically paper trading. And so I did that for about a week, and sure, I was up a nice amount, but was pretty much all luck. And when you're taking huge positions like that, unrealistically, things are going to happen like that. So I immediately cut that off.
Let me ask you this real quick, Johnny. I sense a rabbit hole that may be interesting. So up until when you did that with the paper trading and all that with TradingView, you'd listened to a bunch of podcasts up to that point, right?
Yeah.
And had you heard that like paper trade unrealistically is not a good thing? Did you remember that?
Yeah.
I know he did.
When I did hear that, that's when I decided, well, I probably shouldn't be doing this.
Oh, okay. So it was afterwards then?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess I guess where I was hopefully heading, maybe it's derailed, but I thought we might have a good kind of mental psychology thing here. Is here you are knowing that you shouldn't be paper trading the way you were, and yet you still did it. So I was just going to ask you, how did the voices in your head, how did they make you justify doing that? But it sounds like, if I'm understanding right, you weren't aware that was not smart until, going into it, you didn't realize that it was unsmart, and then you heard the podcast. Is that how the sequence of time went?
No, I would actually say that I knew that buying 1,000 or 100 shares of Amazon, however much that was going to cost, I would never have that in a trading account. So I knew it on some level that was just stupid, and was doing it. And then when I don't know what podcast it was, of course, but many podcasts I've heard you guys, rant about that trading or paper trading realistically. So when I kind of came to that realization that this is not something I should be doing, then I kind of, quit.
Well, good for you for kind of noticing that relatively quickly. Obviously, you have now gone through multiple courses, you've covered technical analysis, you've covered risk management. So I guess what's your ultimate goal in trading? Are you planning on swing trading? Because I know you're working doing a bunch of other stuff. You're trying to trade stocks. I wasn't sure if you had kind of said you eventually went into the option courses, or you just kind of skipped those for now. Like what's your overall goal? What are you trying to get to as you kind of proceed?
Well, and that is kind of something that I was hoping you guys could steer me in a direction, knowing kind of the way my schedule is and stuff. I think options would be something that I could do. Maybe swing trading options using the advanced options stuff that I've heard you guys talk about. I haven't taken that course, but I know that you, Ches, do that, and so that is something I think I might want to check into. I want to find where I fit into the markets and what works for me. And I actually blitzed through the Forex course on Sunday, and so I was checking out some Forex charts and stuff and placed a paper trade. I saw a beautiful pattern and played it, and it worked. And it was at such a small position that it only made me $20, but it did what I thought it was going to do, and it was awesome that I saw the pattern and I played it with a plan, and it worked. And so confidence booster there for me. And so Forex, I think, might be something I would maybe be interested in, because you can do it any time of day and things like that. But I don't know really where I want to go or where I'm going to end up. I feel like that just paper trading stocks on a swing trade basis, where I put in advanced orders, and just, it seems like I'm getting caught in a lot of mud stocks. Like something will look good on Sunday night, but then and I'll see a pattern and make a play, but it'll just kind of go sideways and not do anything, or I'll lose a little bit on it. And so I'm not sure I just want to swing trade stocks like that. I think there's more, and I think options might be something that I could do where I might fit in.
So you said you were seeking some potential guidance. Did I hear that right?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess let's start at the top here. From a swing trading perspective, does the thought of stock closing at, let's just say, $10 and you're long, and then all of a sudden opening the next day at $7, does that freak you out?
Yes, I mean, that's the whole gap thing freaks me out. Like knowing that I could be shorting a stock and have a stop loss in, and then it could overnight gap over my stop loss and just go crazy. That is freaking out to me.
Okay.
So I don't like that part of it.
Okay. Next question then. So you're saying you're working 50 hours a week. I'm assuming, is this like some sort of 9 to 5, or what kind of hours are you working?
The alarm goes off at 3:45 in the morning, and I'm at work by about 4:45.
And then what time do you get home?
Usually 4:30 sometimes 5:30.
So the market's closed then?
Yeah.
Okay. So knowing that, then it sounds like I would concur, and Ches, you can jump in whenever. But yes, if the gapping freaks you out, then a way around that is going to be options trading. And because you're not at your computer during the day, that's really not day trading stocks, at least. So if you want to stay focused in stocks, it's looking like, I would say, advanced trading with options is the way to go, because that's going to allow you. And Ches, you're more of the options farmer here, but dealing with gaps, options allow you to do that, right, Ches?
So essentially you can, yes, to answer your question shortly, the answer is yes, but that's kind of one of the reasons why I've always been a proponent of swing trading advanced options. First off, trading advanced options on mud stocks in general that may be just not moving around up or down too much. That's my bread and butter. That's where I make money using the advanced options. But the second reason is, and why, if you're ever seeing me talk about a trade I'm putting on for earnings or something, is that I could say I wanted Facebook to stay below 175, and Facebook's at like 183 now. Here's the thing. I had capped my max loss no matter what at, I don't know what it was, $300 or whatever it was. But either way, Facebook could have gapped to $1,000. And I was, say I'm technically short from 175. My loss is still capped at $300. So if gaps and kind of stuff like that kind of scare you, and I mean, don't get me wrong, anybody who swing trades shares, I commend them for kind of, you deal with gap risk like that. You don't really have that because you can set your max loss in advance with advanced options, and that's why I've always been a big proponent for it. Especially if you work a full-time job like you do. This could be something that you literally check at lunch. I don't spend more than 30 minutes managing my options positions. More often than not, it takes a couple minutes to spot an idea and look at the chart and form a thesis, put the trade on, and then set my closing orders and let it go. So I would say that would fit perfectly.
And then to piggyback off of that, because there's still a possibility maybe day trading is your bread and butter. I mean, you're still trying to figure out your risk tolerances. So while you do the options, we'll call it the options farming, you could also be doing some Forex trading in the hours when you are at home. And if you're just like, wow, this day trading stuff, it just, if you feel better about it, and how you define feel better, I mean, that's up to you and your personal risk tolerance level. Only you can answer that. But I would kind of do a dual road right now, because to Chez's point, yeah, you can do advanced options, but as far as the management's concerned, that's very hands off. So you can have that going in one lane of the road, and then the other lane, you can be trying some day trading stuff with the Forex. And I don't know, Chez, futures, is that or is that maybe a little too quick? I don't know if that's really a good. I don't know.
It's the futures trade 24 hours, right, sure, yeah. But a majority of the volume is not going to be in the after hours. Right. Don't get me wrong; it follows and traces Europe and stuff like that. But Forex, you could literally, be trading the Asian session before you go to bed and really kind of practice your day trading. That'd be a good thing. And like you said, you can trade extremely small, where you could be risking, $5 if you wanted in a small Forex account. You can trade very, very small in Forex, which is great. And but yeah, if you want to kind of focus on that, I completely agree with Clay. You could totally swing trade with advanced options, and then work on your day trading stuff, whether it's paper or live, just keeping it small with Forex.
Does that make sense, Johnny?
Yeah, it does.
Does that answer what you're seeking, kind of our thoughts? I mean, feel free to ask anything else. I mean, we can turn this into a little live coach. As long as you're fine with people knowing that the general public will hear any sort of your worries, concerns, or anything like that. I mean, then, feel free to ask away if you have anything else.
Yeah, I have been kind of just learning this platform and paper trading just to learn the platform. Like, I'll get in a stock on put in an advanced order and get in the stock when the market opens on Monday morning, and then just kind of practice moving my stop loss and stuff on the phone app part of it, which I'm learning how to do. And so I can get out and into positions and out on my phone and move stop losses on my phone and pretty much check my positions all day if I need to. But yeah, I think I agree, the advanced options thing, and I'm not even sure what futures are, and I'm not sure if there's a course on that or anything. So.
Yeah, don't worry. My only thing is so right now you're doing this stuff on your phone, but this is all for logistics, right? To figure out the platform, that's it, right?
Yeah, I want to be able to move a stop loss and close out a position anytime on my phone.
Okay, so I guess my point here is this is. What I don't want you to look at and be like, you're telling yourself, okay, this is all just to learn how to use the app on my phone. Oh, wow, I turned a profit. Oh, wow, there's another profit. Wow, I'm making all kinds of money doing this. It's not real, because you just fessed up that you would be freaked out of your mind if this was actually real money because of the gap risk. So just be very careful. Don't start to focus on the profits, because those wouldn't be. Your mindset would be totally different if that was real money on the line and you had that gap risk out there. But if you're just strictly and solely focused on, hey, I'm doing this because I need to figure out, what buttons do I press to adjust my stop loss? How do I, enter this? Then that's fine. That's totally acceptable reason. But that's one of those little nooks and crannies where sometimes the voices can slip in and be like, hey, look at this. You're doing great. You're doing great. And all of a sudden you go through real money and you're freaking out. Why am I freaking out? Because now there's actually a gap risk that is truly there. Does that make sense on why I want you to stay focused on just strictly the logistics of things?
Right, it does. And I'm already, been subject to the voices. Just any winner, hey, that could have been real money, you know.
Don't because remember, gap risk would freak you out. So it's not apples to apples right now. So, but good on you for realizing that and being, acknowledging that. But I'm telling you, they're gonna do that. They're gonna try to make you think that you're some awesome trader, but they're just leaving out the fact that your whole psychological or your whole mental makeup, you just wouldn't deal well with the actual reality that, you know, the gap risk exists. So
right.
So hopefully that makes Ches, that made sense, right, Johnny? Who cares if Ches understood? It's not for Ches, Johnny. That made
I was gonna say that makes perfect sense. Don't worry about me.
Yeah, it makes good sense.
Okay, perfect. Well, looking up at the time, where did all the time go? So I guess, I mean, I know we've covered quite a bit. Do you have anything else for us while I rack my brain about, a lot of times I like to ask, you know, the whole loss question. Hey, how do you feel about taking losses now compared, but you did things right. You just started to get educated from the get-go. So it's not like you ever have any necessarily, do you feel like you have any bad habits right now? I would say, I mean, I don't know how you'd have any bad habits because you never got involved in the markets. Or, I mean, do you feel like you do? I don't know. Well,
yeah, one thing I know I definitely need to work on is keeping some sort of trading log, like on a spreadsheet or something, that tells me about every trade that I did and when and how much and all that stuff. I really like the TOS platform. It's completely overwhelming at first, but I'm, you know, just kind of getting screen time and trying to stay in it and learn this stuff. And I did have to, I called TD Ameritrade because I wanted real-time data. And they said, no, well, you have to have it associated with a live account to do that. So I did have to open a live account and drop $500 in there just so I could get the real-time data. And I did have them move my balance to $3,000, which is what I'm planning on actually starting to trade with. So, nice. And I'm down $100 in a month. 50 of those dollars is commissions and fees. So, but you know, I feel like I'm learning the platform.
As we just discussed, are you trying to make money right now, or are you trying to learn the platform? Because those are two very different things.
Absolutely, learn the platform.
Okay, so honestly, you're down $100. Who cares? If you're up $100, who cares? That's not the point, because we've already identified if this was real money, you'd be freaking out of your mind right now because things could technically be gapping up against you since you're swing trading. So don't even look at the profits or losses. I mean, right now you are literally, according to what you're trying to accomplish, learn the platform. Now, obviously, don't go out there and be a total moron about stuff, but at the end of the day, you have to realize that it's not quite apples and oranges. So just focus on learning the platform, and whether or not you lose the account or grow it, that's definitely more of a side issue. Would you agree with that, Ches? I mean, you got to make sure that these things aren't crossing, together.
Yeah, absolutely, and I do think he realizes that, but you just have to make sure they're not crossing, like Clay said.
Yep. So you're down $100, but that's not the point of this right now, because that would be misleading to you. So, but yeah, I teed up a question for Ches because I feel like this is kind of his bread and butter question, just because he likes to feast upon the people that just get it done as much as I do. So I don't want to be too greedy, but Ches, let him knock this thing out of the park, because I think we're going to get some good data here in a second.
All right, and it's not even just me that wants him to knock it out of the park. I want the listeners to just kind of, because this is something you should probably learn from here, because Johnny's obviously doing it in the correct way. But Johnny, how do you what is the routine you do? You work very early, you work a ton of hours. How are you fitting in your education and practice and stuff into that? What's your strategy for kind of doing that? What's your routine look like?
Daily routine is day job, gym, and then usually courses or webinars or whatever happens to be going on that night. I have a 16-year-old daughter. I have one night set aside for her that we just kind of hang out and spend time together, because I know that I've only got her for a couple more years. So I want to make sure and make time for family and stuff like that. And I also do, ministry and recovery group stuff one night a week right now. Sometimes it's two when I'm teaching a class on a different night of the week. But Whenever I have time, I don't mind staying up till 10 or 11 most nights, just taking in the material and doing the courses. And of course, if there's a webinar or something, I try to be on that. I actually had to clear out a regular thing that I did have on Tuesday nights so I could do the live webinars. I think it's just a little better live, rather than the archived ones. But so that's basically it. Just whenever I have a moment to do the education stuff, I squeeze it in there.
And I mean, are you doing education pretty much every day?
Not Monday nights, but Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, usually all day Saturday, and Sunday evenings. Usually 6 or 8 hours on Sundays sometimes, but so yeah, basically my schedule kind of ebbs and flows, so I just kind of roll with it, and whenever I do have some time, I just do it.
Okay, so perfect, and that's what let's go down the checklist, Chaz. 50 hours a week, full-time job, Uber, wedding singer, turn around. All right, never mind.
Sorry, I thought we were going on with a little duet there.
I just threw myself off with how good my singing voice is. Anyways, all right. Full-time job, wedding singer, or just band, not wedding singer, but you do wedding gigs. Uber, ministry, community service, whatever you want to call it. Staying healthy, family. Staying healthy, and yet he's still putting in, it sounds like at least, let's just call it 15 hours a week of education. So 2 things pop into my mind. First is, I don't want to hear your excuses, okay? I've had a few people ask me, and I'm going to kind of start to run with this. Like, Clay, where do you lean politically? You don't want to know what political party I'm a part of? It's called the alarm clock political party. That's what political party I'm a part of, okay? Sounds like Johnny's one and the same. So he's making it happen. He's using his time very wisely. But then also, this is also why it's so important to not be in a rush for all this stuff. Johnny's not in a rush, but he's still making things happen. Is it happening like in a blink of an eye? No, but here's a news flash. Nothing is going to happen in a blink of an eye. Even if you have no job, even if you have nothing else, you have 24 hours a day, and let's say you don't even have to sleep, it's still not going to happen in the blink of an eye. There is still way too much stuff that needs to be done and learned and have pieces fit together where you just cannot be in a rush. So, Johnny is really a perfect example of just sitting back saying, you know what? He doesn't make excuses. He's a part of the, political party alarm clock. But by also not rushing, it's opening up all these different areas where he can still find the time but not feel like rushed and crammed. Would you agree with that, Ches? I mean, Johnny does encapsulate really the proper way that you're supposed to go about all this.
Yep, he does that, and he doesn't complain about any of it. He just gets it done, and that's what it's about, is getting it done.
And that Ches, people think this is scripted, but that really summarizes everything. We started off with passion, and that's why you also need to be passionate, because it's passionate. What do you got to complain about? Because you love what you're doing anyways. So there's no need to complain about it. So that's good stuff. But Johnny, we could keep going. We're going to have you back. But Ches has a time machine, which I'm pretty sure you're aware of. And if you were to lend this to you and you could go back to, the start of all this trading stuff, I have no idea what you're going to tell yourself, because I would argue you've done pretty much everything right from the get-go. But is there anything that you would maybe advise yourself to change up?
I think about this question every time you ask it on a podcast. What am I going to say? And I'm still blanked out on that. I guess I would probably sell the time machine on eBay, put the money in my trading account, and just forget about it.
Ches, he just sold your time machine. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I guess it's a good thing I have an insurance policy taken on it. But man, yeah, that's gone. All right, there you go. It's got to be worth a good couple bucks.
I mean, a fair answer is I'd tell myself, don't change anything at all. I would actually. I think I would probably agree with that, because you knew that you needed to get educated, and before people, of course you're going to say that because he bought your. No, if you know you need to get educated and you like somebody else's stuff, because you love all their style and you just love their teaching and you think you can learn from them, that's great. Go and apply everything that Johnny's been talking about. Work hard, no excuses, study their stuff. That's fine. The whole point of this is not you have to buy your stuff. But the point is, you really do need to learn, invest in some structured training up front. So, Johnny, I think well, you can't sell it on eBay. I mean, we need that time machine or else that question goes away. So I'm going to answer it for you. Do it the exact same way that you would have done it. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, I wouldn't change too much because like I said in the beginning, I really take my time making decisions and don't want to make any more mistakes in my life more than I already have. And
yeah, I think that summarizes it pretty well.
Sums it up perfect. Yeah, sums it up perfectly. Clay, we've been hanging out for too long. We say the same thing at this point. But Johnny, the only question that does matter at this point, though, and will determine if we air the podcast, is what is your favorite movie?
Well, it's definitely not Dumb and Dumber, although I think that's a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll see you later,
thanks
Johnny.
for hanging out.
If I had to go with comedy, I would say Step Brothers.
No, you can go with whatever you want. Oh, Step Bro? Oh, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair enough. What about in general,
Did you touch my drum set? Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And in general, I was thinking, gosh, I do love The Mummy with Brendan Fraser.
The Mummy.
The Mummy. I don't know why I like that movie so much, but I'll watch that sucker over and over if I can. And I like Roadhouse too. I like action movies like that. You remember Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze?
I've never seen it. I mean, I've heard of it. And
oh my gosh.
No,
really?
Is that like a classic?
I think it is.
Chess is getting all bent out of shape.
Did you have a childhood?
I don't know.
Gosh.
Maybe I saw it on Saturday afternoon movie. But The Mummy, Mummy is like a total TNT movie. Like I swear, every other weekend that's on either TBS or TNT. Or but I can see that's done. Yeah, I mean it's entertaining, but. Yeah, that's a first. I don't think anybody's ever said The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. But
I'm kind of really into Egyptian history and the pharaohs and the Valley of the Kings and stuff like that. I love the Egyptian documentaries and stuff. So maybe that's why I like that movie so much.
Yeah, that actually makes a little bit more sense. What about food? What do you like to eat down there in Texas?
Well, I'm a lasagna guy. I love lasagna. I'd have to pick my mom's lasagna over anything else.
That's pretty good. What about for dessert?
Definitely a nice gooey chocolate brownie with some vanilla ice cream.
That's pure America right there. That sounds good.
Now, I'm not sure if this is the smartest question to ask because you are a busy guy, but I'll be interested to hear this. What do you do for fun and hobbies? Because, I mean, we went through your routines and stuff like that, and it sounds like you got a pretty full schedule. But what do you enjoy doing?
Because I'm guessing you like to work out. So I'm curious, I mean, like, what are your lifts? I mean, are you, like, doing compound movements, or do you just do isolated movements? What's your gym routine looking like?
It depends on what program I'm following. I follow a guy who's kind of the clay trader of the health and fitness world. His name's Jim Stepani, and he's got workout programs and he's got strength programs and size programs and shredding programs, and so it depends on kind of whatever program I'm doing at the time as to what my routine is, because I mean going into the gym without a plan is I'll just stand around and not get hardly anything done. So definitely like to go in with definitely like a plan, like a workout plan.
Yeah. So what are you doing right now, routine-wise? Are you trying to get shredded? Are you trying to bulk up? What are you? What sort of goals do you have right now, fitness-wise?
I am in a bulking program right now. It's called Shortcut to Size. Kind of, and your calories are in excess, so you can build the muscle, and so that's the program I'm doing right now.
Now, is this a clean bulk or a dirty bulk?
Clean for the most part, but if a brownie and ice cream shows up, then it's on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nice. He's bulk. So, I mean, how big do you want to get? Like how before you start to lean out again?
I don't know. I used to bench 315, 320. But I'm probably only doing about 280 right now. So I'm kind of not going for strength and testosterone stuff anymore. It's just more to stay in shape now that I'm, just turned 50. So just kind of want to stay in shape and keep moving.
50 and benching 280. I love it. That's good stuff there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's just good stuff. All right. Anyways, we could turn. I don't know, Ches. I think we might have to start another podcast where we just bring on people and talk about who knows what, because all these I just want to hear people's stories more so than outside the market. But we got to go. Like Johnny, I got to share this. I was Johnny. I always ask people, do you need to be done by a certain time? And he said, I just need to be done by the time of the podcast. And I was like, the webinar tonight, because we're recording this on a Tuesday, and the webinar starts soon. So Johnny and I, we're on the same schedule. We got to get done for the webinar. So Johnny, thank you. No, I forgot this. I can't forget this. 3 words, Johnny. These 3 words need to be associated with what you think would be associated with successful trading. What would those 3 words be?
Oh, I was thinking about this too, because I knew it was coming. I wanted to say education, but I don't think those are actually 3 words. So I will go with humility. You got to be humble, and you can't think you're Mr. Super Trader. And gosh, I'm so early. Never even traded $1 live yet, and here I am trying to come up with 3 words on a successful trader. Humility, education, and plan. Somebody that I know that does trading has said, if a trade can never go as planned if you never had a plan in the first place. So that's something that kind of stuck with me.
I like that a lot. That's a great quote indeed. So, well, Johnny, that's good stuff. Thanks for hanging out. And again, props to you for, you were on a dark path, but you're now on a much different path. And that's awesome that you've recovered. And never once did I hear an excuse. Never once did I hear a victim card. And that's refreshing. And that's good stuff. And congratulations. Well done. And don't be so intimidated in the chat room. You've been in freaking jail, man. I'm scared of you now in the chat room. What are you scared about? Chime up, and if anybody threatens you, just be like, I will shank you right now, okay? So just don't even worry about it.
I still have some of my old shanks, too. So
there you go. You have nothing to be, you have nothing to be intimidated by. But, you see, you are, this is why I'm always kind of searching where are some people that I kind of like. That's where maybe meetups would be. But you know what, Ches? If we go down to Austin, at least we know there will be at least one cool person down there to hang out with. So Johnny is representing.
Absolutely.
I guess San Antonio. San Antonio, we have 2 people because Tony's down there. But anyways, thanks for hanging out, Johnny. And I guess I'll see you in like 20 minutes on the live webinar.
Sounds good.
All right, take care, and thank you again. For you listeners out there, before we go, a final few things. If you're listening on the YouTube channel, make sure to check out the channel as a whole. Lots of other stuff besides these podcasts, live trade videos, quick tip videos. We have a vlog. We have all sorts of stuff, so make sure to check it out. Hopefully you decide to ultimately subscribe to the channel. And make sure to click the like button here on this video. If you're listening on iTunes or any of the other podcast players, make sure to subscribe so you can be kept up to date on all future episodes. And especially on iTunes, if you could take some time to leave us a rating, that really, really helps us out quite a bit. And Ches and I would truly appreciate it. Finally, if you're listening on the show notes page on claytrader.com, then be sure to click the share button. And down below the video, or I should say down below the thumbnail, there's an area for comments. You can leave comments, suggestions, questions. We do read those. We will get back to you. So it's a quick way to interact with us if you so choose. So thank you again to our esteemed co-host, Ches. Thank you to Johnny. And we'll see everybody back next week.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.